As the Karnataka High Court is set to resume the hearing at 2:30 p.m., I want to now go across to Karnataka because Nabila Jamal has been tracking all the latest and this special broadcast at 2 from the ground. Nabila, over to you from Karnataka.
Thank you very much, Pooja. I'm right now in Udupi. This is where the controversy has kicked off, and now the matter is in court. In just a little while, the court will resume its hearing, a three-judge bench to deliberate if at all hijab is an essential practice in Islam. Well, that said, the interim order states that students who wear the hijab will not be allowed to schools and colleges which already had preset guidelines. That's the interim order, and now we see a commotion outside several schools and colleges in Karnataka, the latest being one coming in from Karnataka's Chikmagalur. Here's some big news that we are currently tracking. As the hijab fire, the controversy only spreads. It continues to spread across the state of Karnataka. Hijab-wearing students have been sent back to school, sent back from their school premises. In Kodagu, 45 Muslim students were sent back today. In Chikmagalur, hijab-wearing students too, a bunch of them were sent back. This is the repercussion that we see. In fact, interim order by the Karnataka High Court had very clearly stated that those institutions which had preset guidelines in fact should be respected. Their guidelines must be respected, and those wanting to wear hijab inside must refrain from doing so. And now we see that this kind of fallout where several institutions across Karnataka, the latest being from Kodagu, where 45 Muslim students have been sent back, and Chikmagalur as well, a bunch of the students who were wearing hijab have been sent back to their homes. Let me cut across to Shrija joining us live for more. Shrija, give us a perspective here. As the Karnataka High Court has given an interim order asking for institutions which already had preset guidelines on uniformity must continue to do so. Those wanting to wear the hijab in these institutions will not be allowed till the verdict is out. But we see now many institutions across Karnataka, many of them also who were allowing hijab in the past, have now out of fear or apprehension as to what the verdict will be or what the Karnataka government's order really is. In that confusion, many of them now have restricted their students right outside gates. In Kodagu, 45 students wearing the hijab have been sent back home. In Chikmagalur, a bunch of students have also been sent back. We're seeing this kind of fallout across the state of Karnataka.
Yes, and the situation here in Udupi was very calm. From yesterday, we could see all the colleges allowing students enter the college premises with the hijab and remove it outside the classroom and then enter the classroom and write the examination. However, today what happened is in Mallar, Kapu, it is another taluk in Udupi where a Urdu school has been, it's a composite government Urdu school, has sent their students to stay out of the classroom and ask them to remove the shawl. There was no hijab system in the school. However, from the school is about 167-year-old, and they from the beginning they used to wear the shawl, school uniform shawl on their head. However, after this particular issue has been highlighted, some of the students were asked to stay away from the class, and they were been given a separate room to sit. And yesterday they were not allowed to write exam. However, today what happened, DDPI and the Udupi Kapu Tahsildar visited to the school, and they allowed the students to write exam but sitting on a separate room. See, the entire controversy is changing. Then, it used to be only for college, especially PU students. The problem was only for PU students. However, nowadays what happens, even the high school students are completely, interrupted, or
right.
their education is under trouble.
Right.
And,
This is certainly awful. We're so pained with the fact that you're looking at this kind of fallout that has happened with school students. What we saw, the petitioners are in college level. They're slightly older. This is PU college students who petitioned for wearing the hijab inside college premises. And now the fallout has now trickled down to school level. We're looking at 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th standard students across many schools in Karnataka who have now decided that they don't want to take a chance, because you never know what the Karnataka government's order really is, what the High Court is going to say. With all that confusion, it appears they want to stay out of it, and even make those students also stay out of class. And that's what's very, very tragic. The standard operating procedure from the Karnataka government had to come out at the earliest. We still haven't heard from them on that. But nonetheless, while we're looking at this controversy blow up, we're looking at a clear political link here that seems to be emerging out of these protests. The petitioners now, one of the students has petitioned in court asking for the verdict itself to be stalled, only because, according to the petitioner, several political parties are gaining mileage and extracting out of this controversy. In fact, a minor petitioner student has filed an application before the High Court here to postpone the hearing of the case until assembly elections comes to an end. The plea requests the court to adjourn the hearing of the case until February 28th, 2022, as elections are underway in 5 states. And the case is now being used by parties for political gain and for polarization. Now, the High Court has, however, nixed the delay bid, saying that there is no reference from the poll panel and the petitioners are not the residents of those states that are currently witnessing polls. BJP has now alleged that the hijab issue is linked to the ongoing assembly elections and has now called the Karnataka hijab issue an entirely staged one. Meanwhile, in several locations in Karnataka, including Mandya and Gadag, today as well, we saw girls with the hijabs wanting to enter their classrooms but were sent home. We just brought you information coming in from Kodagu where 43 girls were sent back home. Same in Chikmagaluru too. In fact, in Gadag, some of the students entered the classroom wearing the hijab. They were brought outside, in fact, led outside classroom again. A heated argument also broke out. The police were then forced to intervene. Kalburgi too. We saw a similar incident where students decided to take now online classes because they did not want to face off with the school management and therefore they took online classes to save the embarrassment.
बच्चों 8, 9, 10वीं कक्षा में है, वोटर लिस्ट में भी नाम नहीं है, एलिजिबिलिटी भी नहीं है। उसके पहले यूपी चुनाव के बारे में एप्लीकेशन डालता है। हुकूमत क्या है, हिम्मत इसके पीछे क्या है? मुझे लगता है एक साजिश है। हिजाब एजेंडा पकड़कर माइनॉरिटी ऑर्गेनाइज करने का एक साजिश कांग्रेस कर रहा है।
उन लोगों को हम एक सलाह देना चाहते हैं जो लोग मेरे देश में बैठ करके हिजाब के हारर हंगामे से इस देश की संस्कृति, इस देश के संविधान, इस देश के संस्कार, इस देश की सहिष्णुता को अजाब बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, तो हिजाब के हुड़दंग को इस देश के लिए अजाब बनाने की कोशिश या साजिश मत करिए। ये देश जो है वो हम सब का है और हम सब की सामूहिक जिम्मेदारी है।
कल मैंने कोर्ट में देखा कुछ लोग कुछ स्टूडेंट्स इकट्ठा होकर ये इलेक्शन कंप्लीट होने तक, रिजल्ट आने तक ये जजमेंट पेंडिंग रखना, जजमेंट इमीडिएट नहीं देना बोल के वो पिटीशन डाले। इनके पीछे CFI, PFI, कांग्रेस, SDPI ऐसे पीछे है कि एक मीडिया बन गए, उनके तरफ से वो पीछे लड़ाई कर रहा है। स्टूडेंट्स किताब पकड़ कर जाना, हिजाब नहीं।
In this issue, CFI is involved and they are doing it for the politics. Uttar Pradesh election is this, postponed is. I am asking, they are not even voters, they are 17, 16 years minors. Why are they worried about the Uttar Pradesh elections? So in this, it's clearly this one that that is not their voice. That is not students' voice. I have a CCTV footage from 45 days from the December and also photographs that they were not sitting in the classroom with the hijab.
See, central government is BJP government. State government is again the BJP government. All the intelligence report, all the details, all the information, they have got more than us. Now, let them clarify who is there, what is there. Unnecessary, let them not politicalize these things. I request all the senior leaders who are talking like this, please keep quiet for a few days. Let the situation cool down. Let the parents and children and management solve this problem. You leave it to them.
बीजेपी कर रही है सिर्फ चुनाव के लिए। ये जरूरी तो थोड़ी था। इतने साल से सब लोग हिजाब पहनते आ रहे हैं। अब स्कूल में और कॉलेजेस में पॉलिटिक्स करना, हिजाब इश्यू लेके आना जरूरी नहीं था उनका एक ही इंटेंशन क्या है कि अब वो यूपी में ऐसा नहीं कर सकते, तो यूपी चुनाव और 5 राज्य में जो चुनाव हो रहे हैं उसका इफेक्ट वहां पर होने के लिए कर रहे हैं। और ये वो लोग सिर्फ बीजेपी सिर्फ पोलराइजेशन पॉलिटिक्स में बिलीव करती है।
All right, now we have the Education Minister in Karnataka, B.C. Nagesh, who's been constantly harping on the fact that this is politically motivated. He spoke to our consulting editor, Rajdeep Sardesai. Nagesh had this to say.
Today, sir, also in the High Court, the petitioner's lawyer, Mr. Kamath, said he claims that in 2 years, the school in Udupi where it all started, the college in Udupi where this started, was not enforcing the hijab code, only came in December according to the petitioners, and he claimed that the students were wearing hijab before that. This is where the issue, according to the petitioners today, seems to have taken a political turn, that this was rigidly enforced in Udupi.
If you want to real fact, why did, if the school was allowing hijab throughout for last 2 years, why did these girls went to principal and requested him to allow their hijab? Hijab is their religious practice.
Because they changed the rules.
Why did they give the application in December?
Sir, because
when the UP elections were about to declare, to be declared.
Sir, 1 minute. Are you in any way linking what has happened in Udupi to the UP elections? Are you telling me that all these protests have been orchestrated because of the UP elections, sir?
I am. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
I am linking because this same petitioner had argued, had kept one Mr. Ravi Verma Kumar, and Ravi Verma Kumar has appeared for this petitioner and asked that the judgment should be verdict should come after UP election. What is the relation between these girls and UP election?
Karnataka High Court is all set to take up this matter. In fact, the High Court had adjourned their hearing on the petition over the hijab row in schools and colleges until 2:30 p.m. today. The matter will be taken up in court. And during the hearing, we heard Advocate Devdutt Kamath speaking of how he in fact quoted several verses in the Quran and spoke about culture of Islam, etc., and stressed on how wearing the hijab is an essential practice in Islam. There was a lot of talk that happened in court. Let's take a quick listen at this detailed report.
After schools in Karnataka reopened, colleges will open their doors to students on Wednesday. Students cannot wear any religious symbol, which means hijab remains out of the campus if the college authorities do not permit it. A final call on hijab will come from the High Court, which continues hearing students' petition against hijab ban. On Monday, the Petitioners' Council, Devdutt Kamath, pleaded for headscarves that match uniform color. He argued that the students have been wearing hijab since their admission, that is, at least for 2 years. Questioning a government order that backs the college bodies, the petitioner claimed the College Development Committee, which prescribed the uniform, does not have a statutory basis. The petitioner argued that the declaration made by the state that wearing a headscarf is not protected by Article 25, which guarantees right to practice one's religion, is erroneous. The petitioner also questioned whether a college panel consisting of MLAs can decide if public order will be affected if the right is exercised. After the High Court asked whether everything stated in Quran is an essential religious practice, the petitioner argued that the Quran says it is farz or duty to wear hijab. Is hijab essential to practice Islam? Do students have the right to choose what they wear in colleges? These are the questions the High Court will address as it continues the hearing on hijab ban. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, as the Karnataka High Court gets ready to take up the arguments today, there were a lot of deliberations yesterday. I'm going to cut across to Akshata Nandagopal to break it down for us. What were the arguments and counter-arguments made in court yesterday?
Let's round up for you all of the highlights from the Karnataka High Court hearing on Monday. Here's what the petitioner said in response to the Karnataka government as well. First, the petitioner claimed that these students have been wearing hijab for the last 2 years, to which the Karnataka government has said very clearly that nothing of the sort. Uniform has always been maintained and we cannot allow students with hijab inside campuses. Besides that, the petitioner also maintained that the state government here doesn't have the power to actually regulate religious practices, and hijab is an essential part of Islam. The Karnataka government in response has said that the uniform has been there for years, so why is this being brought up suddenly? Now, the government in the court also spoke about the law and order situation, saying they're concerned about what's playing out. The petitioner in response to that said, allow hijab and there will be no issue of a law and order crisis. Now, another argument that was brought up in the Karnataka High Court was, in fact, the petitioners mentioning also about what really hijab means to these students. They're also saying that hijabs are permitted in Kendra Vidyalaya, so why not across the state, across the country as well? The Karnataka government has maintained that status quo at this point should be retained no matter what.
Now, we know that this politics over the hijab showdown has gotten so ugly that we're hearing all kinds of comments coming in from leaders. The latest one coming in from Congress Karnataka MLA Zamir Ahmed. In fact, he's now facing outrage for a rape analogy that he made of this hijab controversy. In fact, he still remains defiant, though it's quite brazen there. Zamir is, in his tweet and his statements, has again reiterated that he does not mean to hurt sentiments and was not wanting to disrespect anyone. He's further added that he regrets if it has hurt anyone, but refuses to apologize. Now, Karnataka Congress Chief D.K. Shivkumar has condemned Zamir's remarks. They're asking him to apologize and withdraw that statement. On Sunday, Zamir Ahmed quoted controversy after he said that rape happens in India because women don't wear the hijab. Claiming that parda in Islam is used to hide the beauty of a Muslim woman, Congress leader inferred that no hijab or parda means inviting rape. Now, let me quickly cut across to Rizwan Arshad. In fact, I spoke to him a little earlier about the comments made by Zamir Ahmed. Let's hear what he has to say. As much as the girls hope that they would get some kind of support from the Congress party, which has so long been very much trying to appease the minority communities, here it appears that one of your own leaders isn't helping the case. Zamir Ahmed spoke about wearing the hijab preventing rape and it protects the beauty of Muslim women. How is it really helping the cause here?
I mean, I'm certainly not. I don't subscribe to Mr. Zamir Ahmed's view. I don't know what he has spoken, but I don't subscribe to whether a girl wears a modern clothing or a girl wears a hijab. How do we connect that to her honor? How do we connect that to whether she's safe in the society or not? It is the duty of the society and the law and order machinery to keep the society safe, not only the girls, everyone to be safe.